All systems go?
Yeah, it's live now. Really.
Okay. I can't see. Is that a thumbs up?
We are still down here, but I'm using Wi-Fi from there to...
Oh, very good. Okay. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvrishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So as we announced last night, we're changing things up a bit. Instead of having meditation this morning, we'll cover the last two shlokas, verses of the stotra, and then at 8:45, I looked at Ganesh to, yes, that's right, Swamiji. We'll have meditation for half an hour, and then I'll give you some parting treats. We're on verse 11 here. Samasteshu vastushvanusyutamekam Samasteshu vastushvanusyutamekam Samastani vastuniyamnas Sprishanti samastani vastuniyamna sprishanti vyadvat sada shuddha samachas swarupaha vyadvat sada shuddha machas swarupaha sanityo palabdhi swarupo hamatma. It's always good to have a sense of humor about oneself, which is actually a sense of humor about one's not self, right? Oh, look, there's a big nose. Oh, what melody is that? So this is another verse to take into meditation, because this, again, is a Nididhyasana Grantha. So I'll just read the translation, we'll get into it. It's a very interesting, very beautiful, these two verses that are coming up. So, no objects at all touch that one which is uninterruptedly present in all things, ever pure like space, having a nature that is free of death. I am that awareness which is the nature of timeless awareness. Again, these are seed phrases that one can bring into Nididhyasana. Na samastani vastuni, no objects at all, sprashanti, touch, yam ekam. So yam ekam means the Atma. So there's a relative yam, and that correlates to saha, I am that one. I am that one which nothing touches. But, so here he's saying it's both immanent and transcendent. He's saying no objects touch that one, which is me, right? No, the cup doesn't touch the paper, right? What cup are you talking about? The wave doesn't touch the ocean. I mean, wave doesn't touch the water, because there's no reality to the cup. There's no reality to the wave. It takes two to tango. For one thing to touch another thing, both of them have to abide on the same order of reality. And if one is only as though, you can say as though the wave touches the water, but it's not actually correct. So nothing touches me, right? I am the witness to everything, and and we'll talk about. There's a problem. There's a real challenge when we focus on the drikdrisha, the differentiation between the seer and the seen, we're left with a duality. And as I mentioned, then we investigate mithya, what's the nature of that which I've just jettisoned from my self-identity, and we see it has no actual reality, but we can easily get into the notion that I'm a pocket of awareness walking around an inert world. And we'll talk about that in the next shloka. But I am free, just like the paper is free of the cup, the water is free of the wave, and the ocean, Namarupa. There's no other thing that can have any bearing on me. And yam ekam, I am that one, that singular one. I am that one water upon which all waves depend, but water is inherently free of any waveform. But that just like that water is all pervasive and immanent, right? It's present but transcends. So too under Sutam, that same one is strung through, pervades. It means pervades. I translated it as uninterruptedly present. Where? Samasteshu vastushu, in all things, right? I am present in all experiences, but no experiences actually touch me. The sand is present in the mirage, but the mirage does not touch the sand. If you look on page 29, there's a verse from the Gita, Shankara Bhashya 2:16. Before that, just above that, page 28, there's a verse 7:7. Mataf parataram nanyat kinchadasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Sri Krishna says, O Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, he says, Mataf parataram na anyat. There's no other cause, no other thing that is superior to me. Kinchit asti dhananjaya. There's no other thing actually that even exists other than me. So this is, Sri Krishna talks from various perspectives in the Gita. He talks as Mr. Sri Krishna, he talks as Ishvara, and he talks as Brahman, right? And we can do that too. In our life, we can talk about, I'm Mr. Devadatta, right, from an individual, but you can also, from the Paramartika Drishti, from the absolute perspective, you can say, I am Brahman, I am Atma. We can't really talk from the perspective of Ishvara, because this is Ishvara's creation. When I'm in the dream, I can say, I am I am the Lord of everything in the dream, right? And then he says, Mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana iva. He says, all this is woven, has its being in me like the beads in a string. So you look at a mala, right, a japa mala or a flower mala, and so he's saying, I am the anuvritti. I am that which is perpetually present. The string is present in every bead, so the string is immanent, it's present, but it also transcends, because it's the very basis, you could say. It's a different drishtanta of dependency, right? It is uninterruptedly present. The string is uninterruptedly present throughout all the beads, but it's not touched, right? It transcends. You can pull the string out, and it was never really touched by the beads, in a sense. Its existence, the string's existence, is not dependent on the beads of the mala. The mala form is dependent on the presence of the string, but the string is independent of the mala. That's the idea. And I'll come back to this. We've talked about the adhisthana, the very substratum of everything that exists is pure existence itself. Because we see everything, we say everything exists. And we attribute existence as an attribute to all namarupa, which it does not inherently enjoy. So when we talk about adhisthana, it's important to know that it's unhidden. Mithya does not hide satyam. Namarupa does not hide the adhisthana. The cup does not hide the paper. This variegated worldly experience does not hide Brahman. What truly exists is the clay of the pot, the water of the wave, the satyam of the mithya. And so I included another Gita verse here, which I really just want to look at the bhashya. So I mentioned this verse before. It's on page 29. Nasato vidyate bhavaha na bhava vidyate sataha upayora vidrishtantaha tvanayos tattvadarshvihi. For the mithya, for the cup, there is never any being. Existence does not belong to the cup. For the real, for the paper, there's never any non-being, right? So what is absolutely real does not come in and out of existence. And everything that appears to exist is actually dependent upon that one unchanging existence. And how do we bring that into our experience? So this verse 16 of chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita is talking about the satyam and mithya. And Shankaracharya presents this in a unique and extraordinary way. And that's a quote I pulled there. Sarvatra buddhi dvaya upalabdehe sad buddhihi asad buddhihi iti yad vishaya buddhihi na vyabhicharati tat sat yad vishaya vyabhicharati tad asat. And this is just a subsection of that bhashya. Puja Swamiji, if you look in the Gita Home Study, he does a beautiful job of covering this. He says, sarvatra, everywhere, in other words, in all cognitions. So this is bringing it into our experience. He says, everywhere, in all cognitions, there's a buddhi tvaya upalabdehe. This is a causative, because everywhere, it's a continuation of thought from a previous sentence, but in all cognitions, there are two buddhis. Buddhi means many things. Here it means cognition or recognition. There's a twofold recognition in any experience, any thought, any emotion. One is sad buddhi, and the other one is asad buddhi. So in any thought, we see the namarupa, but we also recognize existence. Right? When I say there's I see the chair, which is existent. Existence, we don't, it's the background of our experience, but any object we look at, there's two things. We see the chair and we see its existence. But as we know, it doesn't enjoy an inherent existence, because if it did, it wouldn't be manufactured at one time and go back, hopefully deteriorates back to the earth at another time, right? So we see the namarupa and we see its existence. When we see the wave, we see the waveform and we see the water, right? But what is foreground and what is background? We live in a world of paper cups and pots and waves. A contemplative disposition can bring the background to the foreground. The background is not really background. It's most prominent, but we tend to overlook it. So instead of living in a world of waves and cups, we can live in the world of perception, a recognition of water and paper, if you understand the drishtantas, right? You can look at the water, at the wave, and say, "Oh, look at all the waves," or you can say, "Oh, look at the beauty of the ocean, which is constituted of all the waves," or you can say, look at this one water manifesting with all these different ways. And that's a shift, right? That's a shift. Your knowledge informs your experience, but you say, okay, what is background and what is foreground? What is nama-rupa? What is mithya? And what is adhisthana? And so that's a jnani's drishti. That's an enlightened person's vision, is that they're not always, you can. This is a very nuanced vision because the artistry of being a jnani is to live on all levels at the same time, and we'll talk more about that. But if you just say everything is Brahman, then you better not get behind the wheel of a car. You can still drive your car and appreciate that everything is Brahman. As a surfer, you can still shoot the curl. Anybody know what that is? If you see these huge waves in Hawaii, there's beautiful, beautiful, dangerous waves, and every surfer's dream to be able to do that, I guess. So you can still surf the wave and still recognize there's only water there, right? You can still live on the level of what's called vyavaharika satta, empirical transactional. Vyavahara means business, really. Transaction. Vyavaharika means that which pertains to vyavahara. And so it's translated as empirical. So you can still live you can still operate in the empirical world and still have that vision. But what's included in that empirical vision, that vyavaharika drishti, that vision of that, is this body-mind-sense complex. So this body and mind is equally as much nama-rupa as the world. So you can say, I am walking, I am talking. Is Swamiji talking? What is this, what part of Swamiji are you talking about? Atma is not talking. To put it bluntly, Atma is totally impotent. Maybe I shouldn't go there. But Atma has no kartrutvam. Atma has no agency. Atma is just present awareness, right? And so you can function on both of those levels, on a practical level, and not be fooled by it. You don't need to be. Sorry, I have to use this word again. You don't need to be ensorcelled by the dream that you're in. That if you're in a dream and you're lucid waking in the dream, you can still walk through the woods with your friend, and really, as Sri Krishna says in the Gita, you're as though walking through an as though world with your as though friend, and your experience can be totally informed by the reality that there's nothing here but me. The whole dream depends upon me. The satta, the existence, is mama satta, is my existence. The awareness that's present is really my awareness. And you can think of awareness as the knownness. Something is known, and the entire world is known. The whole dream world is known. And actually that knownness you can see as an aspect of that awareness. And so we have both of these levels. There's a recognition of the nama-rupa, and there's a recognition of the adhisthana, of the substratum. And then he goes on to say, and this is not mystical, right? Vedanta is not mystical. Some people have had mystical experiences. That's great. They're beautiful. But mystical experiences come and go. They may drop you into this astonishing vision, but then you always come out. And if you're a spiritual samsari, you're always, what's the word? Chasing the dragon? Is that? Am I using that correctly? Right. You're always trying to get that new experience, that transcendent experience back, and that's folly. Right? Because we don't need a new experience for moksha. We want to understand the truth of our current experience. Just like Devadatta, he had to understand the truth of his current, his experience, even when ignorant. The reality of him was that he was nothing but the 10th man. Right? The wave, even when it was ignorant of its swarupa, was always just water. So even if you're ignorant of the truth of yourself, You're not separate from Brahman. You're not separate from reality. The only thing that keeps you from that is your ignorance of that. So you don't get, in enlightenment, when you're enlightened, you don't get any closer to Atma. Because Atma is never away from you. It's you. It's the ignorant you, and it's the enlightened you. The only thing is that you've lifted the veil of ignorance. And so these two buddhis coexist in every cognition. So he's looking at this from a cognitive perspective. Yad vishaya buddhihi na vyabhicharati. So that part of the cognition pertaining to the thing, interesting Sanskrit if you study Sanskrit, that cognition pertaining to the thing which undergoes no change, that thing is existence itself. Meaning, what doesn't change in our cognition are two things. So we focus a lot on what doesn't change is awareness. I am the ever-shining awareness in whose presence thoughts come, abide, and go. And when we say thought, we mean all changing experience, right? All experience comes to us through a thought, through a chitta vritti, right? Perception, I see something. The mind takes on the form of that thought. I have an emotion. It's an emotion-formed thought. I hear a sound. Now the mind takes on the form of that sound. And so there's a sound-formed thought, right? A memory, a knowledge, and ignorance. So everything we experience is really what's projected on the screen of the mind. And so to come to understanding what Atma is, we disengage our identity from that which we perceive. We'll talk more about that. we talked about that we want to fall naturally into a recognition that I am the awarer of the awared, I am the sakshi of the saksha. But again, the swarupa of the awarer is awareness. In English, there's this affix which indicates the agent of an action, right? I'm a driver, I'm a speaker, unlike I'm a cooker. That doesn't work. I am my Instant Pot. Okay, if you want to go there, that's fine. Right? And so I use that, I am the awarer, I'm the agent of being aware of something, but that and Sanskrit, very similar affix, trich, kartr, and then when you decline it, is karta, bhokta. I am the doer, I am the experiencer, I am the thinker, I am the feeler. That indicates agency. And Atma is not an agent. And Sri Krishna is not a doer, it's not a thinker. The doer is not separate from Atma, but Atma is not a doer. A is B, but B is not A. The cup is paper, but the paper is not cup. And so the swarupa of any ness, the trishtvam, the trishtva swarupaha, to even bastardize poor Sanskrit, the swarupa of any sense of doership is a non-doer, right? And that's why I use the terminology, the swarupa of the truth, the swarupa of the awarer is just pure awareness. So we we come to the understanding of using this adhyaropa apavada, we take a provisional perspective that there is this perceived heuristic of the duality between the vishaya and the vishayi, the subject and the object, and we work with that perception. Sri Krishna, Shankaracharya refers to the Shruti as a compassionate mother, telling us to get up, wake up, in the Kathopanishad. And so we use that perspective to come to as close as we can within manifest creation and say, everything here is an object of my cognition, and I'm just pure awareness. I'm just a pure awarer. And then we do the apavada, which says, you are not even an awarer. Your swarupa is just awareness. And so because the swarupa, the nature of Atma is sat chit, is awareness. Now what about the sat? Sat and chit, satyam and jnanam, existence and awareness are two words to express the same thing. Sat is chit and chit is sat. And Atma doesn't enjoy those attributes, it is the very thing. Okay? So water does not enjoy H2O-ness. Water is H2O. dihydrogen monoxide. And so now, because of this verse 16, we see that which does not change in our cognition is not in any perception, right, is not just awareness, but also existence. Because mithya does not hide satyam. The cup does not hide paper. And so in every cognition, there's a recognition of existence. And then we attribute that existence to that which is perceived, which it doesn't actually exist. It doesn't actually belong to the objects. And so that cognition, that like the string through the mala, that permeates the mala, the recognition of existence permeates all experience. So beautiful meditation. You can fall. I use the imagery of falling back, because you are not objectifiable. Atma is not objectifiable, and that's why we use these very nuanced prakriyas, these teaching methodologies to try to reveal that which is not objectifiable, that which is not the direct object of any word. You cannot point and say, "Oh, there's a chair, there's a table, oh, and there's Brahman," right? Because it's you. And so there's this, like I keep talking about this adhyaropa apavada, or lakshartha versus vachartha. We use the implied meanings to try to create the context for someone to see, yes, that's true. And so I often feel like it's a process of falling back into the truth of yourself, right? You can't grasp it, I mean, as a thing. You cannot become it. You can just be it. So it's a very subtle and gentle appreciation of Atma. And you can fall back into that and say, I am Chaitanya Swarupaham, right? Chaitanya Swarupoham, Chit Swarupoham. I am nothing but pure Nitya Shuddha Chaitanya. I am nothing but pure awareness, untouched by everything, by all experience, all cognition, right? Or I am just pure existence, Sat Swarupoham, right? So that which doesn't come and go is satyam, is real. And that is present in every cognition. And in contrast, yad vishaya vyabhicharati tad asat, meaning that which changes in every experience, that which undergoes change in every experience, that is, in essence, asat. Asat, it means non-existent. But it's not totally non-existent. And so in the context, Sri Krishna uses the word asat, non-existent, to mean mithya, right? So the shirt comes and goes within the context of the cloth. Remember, so I have this other example of mithya. You know, the shirt is just a form superimposed upon cloth. And so within that level, the cloth is satyam, is real, and the shirt is a form superimposed upon it. And then the cloth is actually a form superimposed upon the threads. And we can go all the way down, you know, to the cotton and cotton fiber. But notice that at each level, even though the reality of each namarupa is baditam, becomes falsified, there's an as-though shirt, an as-though cloth, right? That's a vyavaharika setta, that's a transactional reality. But we falsify its reality, and even though we know that the shirt is just namarupa, a functional form to which we give a name, and the cloth is just a form to which we give a name, at each level we say, asti, 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 asti. It exists, it is. It's an existent shirt, it's existent cloth, it's existent thread, it's existent cotton, right? And so that which permeates, is present at every level of cognition, is sat. And that recognition of existence does not come and go. And when you realize that nothing can bifurcate, just like nothing can bifurcate space, nothing can chop existence in half, right? And so what I say, so it's just a false duality between my existence and your existence, or my existence and the world's existence. There ain't no two existences, right? There's only one water, which is appearing in all these different wave forms in the ocean form. My amness, technically it's asmita. My amness is yourness, which is the thatness of the world, right? Like I said, it's much more accurate to say, I am, you am, it am, because there's one unchanging, ever-present, non-dual existence, which is present in every cognition. How can you not see that? How can Atman and Brahman be out there? It's right here. So is Brahman, is this Atma like the thread of the mala? Well, there's a limitation of the drishtanta, of the example. Yeah, because the flowers touch the thread. So or the beads touch the thread. So they're actually two different things. So it's a limitation of the example. And so it's like vyadvat. It's like space. He uses that. So he uses the word vyatvat, like space. Vyat is like akasha or vyoman. He uses different words for space. He says, as we saw, we talked a lot about akasha, a space, right? Akasha is not tainted or purified. Space is not touched by what it accommodates. Space is not tarnished, is not polluted by the sewage coming down from the 50-story building, the space through which that flows, and space is not purified by the pure water going up. It's nitya asanga. So, and that's you. Right? The mirage water does not have the ability to turn the desert sand muddy. And therefore it is sada shuddham, as it's said here, sada sarvada shuddham nirmalam. Just many of the commentators often just give lists of synonyms. So when I say something like that, sada means sarvada at all times. Shuddham means pure, meaning nirmalam, without any mala, without any polluting factor. Accha swarupam. Accha does not mean accha. It doesn't mean that. It says it means clear, transparent. So I am that whose swarupa comes to mean free of death, because only that which is born dies. That which comes into existence goes out of existence. Sri Krishna says, "Najayate mriyate." Right? You were never born. The sat of the recognition of existence, that sat does not come and go out of existence. Saha nitya upalabdhi sarupaha aham atma. I am that aware, that ever-present existence, awareness, aham atma. I am that atma. Let's go to verse 12. Upadau yata bhetata sanmaninam. Upadau yata bhetata sanmaninam. Tata bhetata buddhi bedhe shutepi. Tata bhetata buddhi bedhe shutepi. Yata chantrikanam jale chanchalatvam. Yata Jale chanchalatvam tata chanchalatvam tavapi Vishnu tata chanchalatvam tavapi. I don't know what melody he's ever going to come out. Now this is different because you notice the last line doesn't have the same line as all that. So as the other ones. I don't think I did the padacheta for the previous one, but this one, upadau yata vedata sanminanam tata vedata buddhi vedeshu te api yata chandrakanam jale chanchalatvam tata chanchalatvam tava api iha Vishnu. So this is, remember, the dialogue is between this yet unnamed boy, Hastamalakiyam, and Sri Shankaracharya. This boy doesn't know who this fellow is, Daddy asked you to come to talk to me. I don't know who you are, but let me address you as I know who you are. So the Sambodhana, Vishnu, means Vishnu. It's the vocative, oh Vishnu. Now he's not saying you are, Sri Krishna. Vishnu means that which is all-pervasive. Vish Vyapane, Vyapanashilaha is the definition. So Vishnu means, what is all-pervasive? Brahman. So in Hastamalakiyam's vision, this was just another form of Brahman disguised as this sannyasi coming to him, interrogating him, right? Everybody, like I mentioned, you can Ishwaraize it by saying, oh, you're coming to me, you're a form of Sri Dakshinamurti, you're a form of Ishvara. Or you could look at it and say, you're another wave whose swarupa is just water. And so he's saying, you yourself are all-pervasive Brahman, right? So this boy is schooling Sri Shankaracharya because he saw Shankaracharya as Brahman, because there's everything is Brahman. There's Mahavakya. Mahavakyas are these short, pithy statements which reveal which reveal the reality and are used as means to reveal the reality by a teacher, Tattvamasi being a very common one. Another one, which is not considered one of the four, every Upanishad has some form of Mahavakya because they all teach the same thing. Another one is Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Sarvam, everything, Kalu, indeed, Sarvam Idam, all of this is indeed Brahman. Now, remember we said that the Sadvastu, that one entity, is called Atma from the perspective of the Jiva, and it's called Brahman from the perspective of the ocean, when the analysis starts from, like the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. To find the identity between the Jiva and Ishvara, we remove that which is incidental to the Jiva, and even that which is incidental, it sounds sacrilegious, we remove that which is incidental from Ishvara. Jivatvam, individuality, is incidental to you. Waveness is incidental to the wave. The Swarupa is Atma, the wave water. Ishwaratvam, even the status of being Ishvara is incidental to Brahman, right? Because Maya, Brahman looked through the lens of Maya becomes Ishvara. But Maya is Mithya. Ya ma iti Maya, right? And so Maya is the upadi of Brahman, due to which we can call Brahman Ishvara. So Jiva and Ishvara exist on the same level of reality. And in the Mahavakya, we analyze what do we mean by the Alpa-Jnaha, this ignoramus Jiva, and what do we mean by the Sarvagnaha, Ishvara, all-knowing God, the Lord, and we remove the disparate attributes of both, the contradictory attributes. The difference between, at the Jiva level, at the Vyavaharika, Satta level, at the empirical level, the difference between the Jiva and Ishvara is just the difference in Upadi, right? The forms differ, but the Swarupa is the same. The difference between the wave and the ocean is the difference between the Vyashti Upadi and the Samashti Upadi, between the microcosm Upadi costume and the macrocosm costume. The truth of both is just one non-dual water. And so to put these together, there's a Mahavakya, I am Atma Brahma. This I am is not I am. Just like Tat Tvam Asi is not Tattvam. There's the word Tattvam, which means reality. It's a beautiful word, but it's not Tat Tvam Asi. Tat means that, Tvam means you, Asi means is, right? Tattvam, the word itself is exquisite. It means truth or reality. Tat is a pronoun. Tat means that. It's a variable, like idam. And anything can be put in the word tat, a pronoun. So tat, that it actually means that rather than this. Idam means this. Etad means this. Tat means that. Asau means that. We have 4 pronouns in Sanskrit. But we can say that chair, that table, that murti, that thought, that emotion, right? That ignorance. Anything can be put into the pronoun tat. Sarvanama is a name for a pronoun, meaning that which can be a word that stands for everything, right? And twa is the affix that gives you the neuter abstract noun, which means, we translate as ness, but what we mean is the essence. So the swarupa, the essence of that and that and that and that and that is reality, is truth, is Brahman. So really, tattva means thatness, but it refers to the very essence of whatever we can put into that holder, that variable that. And that's Brahman, the tattva, the reality, the truth. And so one can say, all is Brahman. The wave can say, all this is the truth of the ocean. The truth of the ocean is nothing but one non-dual water. I can say there's nothing here but Brahman, which is the truth of Ishvara. I can say, all that is here is Atma, is me. All that is here is wave water. All that is here is ocean water. All that is here is wave water. All that is here is Brahman. All that is here is Atma. This is not Vedanta 101 in a sense, because it may be kind of hard to grasp, right? But the only thing here is one non-dual reality called Atma, plus confused notions about that one Atma. And apparent name and form which have no actual reality, right? The color of the shirt is the color of the cloth. The weight of the shirt is the weight of the cloth. The texture of the shirt is the texture of the cloth. You cannot say, bring the shirt but leave the cloth, because there ain't no stinking shirt. There's only cloth, right? So it has a functional reality, but it's Bhagavan's magic. So you can also say, all of this is Maya, right? All of this is Bhagavan's magic. Maya, we say, is the parinami upadana karanam, the material cause which undergoes transformation to become this entire creation. You can also think of that. What makes Ishvara sarvagnaha, all-knowing, right? Omniscient. Maya. You can think of Maya as Ishvara's knowledge. And so all this manifest creation is manifestations of Ishvara's knowledge. Just like the dream is just a manifestation of my knowledge, right? It put together in sometimes very odd forms. We have like Swami Advayatmananda coming to this cafe where he's supposed to give a talk, and he's dressed in a 3-piece orange suit. Oh, tatastu, right? All of this is, we're in as though Ishvara's dream, but there's only one reality here, right? Plus a magical, perception of this magical appearance of this creation, Maya Viva, right? Ishvara is said in the Sri Dakshinamurti Stotram to be as though a magician conjuring. What's the word? Phantasmagorical? What's the word I'm thinking? Anyway, there's a word I'm trying to. It doesn't come to mind. Anyway, but it's all this. It's all like. I'm sure if Shankaracharya lived now, he'd use the movie screen example. Remember movies? Remember when people used to go to movie theaters, right? All of this nama-rupa, this colorful world, is evanescent. Right? It has no reality, just like the whole colorful drama that appears on this one nitya shuddha screen at a movie theater. Right? The screen is ever untouched. It's actually ever pure. But upon all of that white, pure, unchanging existent screen is all the melodrama, all the romance, all the bromance, every car chase, all the samsara is superimposed upon that one unchanging adhisthana, one unchanging background. Now, unlike the screen, it'd be really boring to say, okay, I'm going to go see a movie, but I'm going to go see the truth of it. I'm just going to focus on the screen and ignore what's projected on it. Unlike that, the most exquisite place you can put your attentions is on the adhisthana, on Brahman, and let the drama play out. You can be, as our good friend once said, you can be in the world but not of it. The paper is in the cup, but it's not of the cup. The water is in the wave, but not of the wave, right? And this is the jnani's anchoring vision in himself. So everything else is just lila. Everything else is just play. When you understand, you can reframe all experience to be Bhagavan is your primary play partner in life. Every gopi has her own Sri Krishna to dance with. You're just dancing with Bhagavan all the time, right? It's like the Tandava dance, right? And so all of life becomes play, becomes a lila, becomes a dance. Unless you get stuck in the movie, right? Oh, I am this character. Oh, and, like all romance movies, oh, we just missed each other. You know how many problems in romance movies, or even the TV show Friends, could have been solved by a simple phone call if they had cell phones back then? Anyway, so one could say all of this is Maya too. All of this is magic. It's just astonishing what's here. And even the mind. You can look at the mind. Puja Swamiji would say, you can be infinitely entertained by just watching your mind. And so you can say, the drishti, the paramarthika drishti, can be expressed in these different ways. There's nothing here but Brahman, which includes me. And this is the problem with the Vishwarupa Darshana. So Sri Krishna gives this cosmic vision to Arjuna, and Arjuna is so afraid. Sri Krishna is a prankster. He's a trickster. Because he didn't give him the whole vision. If Sri Krishna had given Arjuna the whole vision, Arjuna would not have been left out. There would be no other world to be afraid of. I mean, Sri Krishna presented himself as time, with all of the other warriors being stuck in his teeth. It's just a gruesome image. And Arjuna was so afraid. And it was curious, he said, oh, please remove this form. I want to see you in your normal four-armed form. I'm not sure Arjuna had ever seen Sri Krishna in his four-armed form, as Vishnu. Anyway, but Arjuna was not included in that vision, and therefore there was fear, and therefore there was samsara. The complete vision is that you at every level are not sacred, are not separate from the sacred. The wave is never separate from the ocean. The water is omnipresent. The truth of yourself is the sadbuddhi, right? This ever-present recognition of is, am, are. So the issue of, Puja Swamiji was very sensitive to this. We focus a lot on Sakshi and Saksha it's a very powerful prakriya, it's a very powerful method of unfoldment. But we can't leave that analysis half-baked. Because if you leave this Atma and Atma Vichara saying, I am the witness to all of this, you can go around the world thinking that you're a pocket of awareness walking around an inert, a Chaitanya Jada world, which is different than me. And that's duality. And we're not teaching duality, we're teaching non-duality, right? And so the wave really can start off saying, oh, I am different than the waveform. The attributes, the size, I am inherently not kala desha vastu parichinna. I am not inherently defined by my particular place, my particular time, or my particular attributes. All that belongs to the waveform. I'm free of that. But then the next step is, but what am I? I'm free of that. Oh, I'm the omnipresent water. In the dream, if in a dream world, if you take yourself to be the character you've been incarnated into in the dream world, you are just as real as a tree. The tree limits you. Your friend limits you because you are not the tree and you are not that. Let's say a dream guru comes to you and says, oh, by the way, your particular desha, kala, and vastu, your particular time and place and attribute that you think yourself to be, you define yourself to be, oh, look at my attributes, I'm so special. Oh, look at my attributes, I'm so... right? The guru would say, those don't belong to you. That's just your costume you're wearing. Right? And one can say, oh, well, I am not in this world. Right? The world is different from me. And the guru would have to say, there's nothing here but you. Because when you disentangle your identity from the special form, the Vishesha form, you can understand the Samanya. You can understand what is common in all forms, which is the truth of the dream, which is one Satchit, one reality which happens to be awareful, which is manifesting as the entire dream. So going beyond just answering Shankaracharya's question of who you are, who are you, boy? All the previous verses, Hastamalakiyam said, they were all put in the first person. Now he says, this is my nature. And now he points to Shankaracharya and says, he's saying, oh, by the way, that's your nature too, oh, mister, I don't know who you are. So he's taking the role of a guru to Shankaracharya. And so he says, yata, just as Vedata, there is the appearance of differences, san maninam, among pure crystals, right? So we have the example of the crystal, based on whatever comes due to the upadhi, based on the color of what comes behind the crystal seems to absorb the color of the upadhi, the apadhika dharma. So he says the differences, there's the vedata, the differenceness, the appearance of differenceness among sun here means shuddha, among pure crystals, spatikas, upadhau, when there is an upadhi adjacent, right, due to the proximity of the variously colored upadhis, right, a sad thought comes, a blue thought, oh, I feel so sad. A red thought comes, I'm so angry, right? A white thought comes, oh, I'm so pure. Oh, a brown thought comes, oh, I'm so black, oh, I'm so dull-witted, right? The state of mind has nothing to do with you. You are in it, but not of it. There is no state of mind without you, but you are free of the state of mind. Tata, so too, in the same way, te api bedata. For you too, O Mr. Shankaracharya, the difference is just due to a difference in upadhi, in the buddhi bedeshu, due to also in the various states of mind. So the various states of mind, the buddhi bedas, the different states of mind, make you seem as if you're once a happy person and another time a sad person. So you can look at this in different ways. You can look at that. Within your experience, there are different states of mind. You seem to undergo change. Any difference between the happy you and the unhappy you is just a function of the mind, not you. Or you can take it as there's many buddhis, so the difference between me and you is just due to the difference of upadhi, just like the difference between the wave and the ocean is just due to the difference of upadhi. So so he gives another example. Yata, and also just says chanchalatvam. Chanchalatvam means agitation. So there's the chanchalatvam, the perceived agitation, chandrakanam, for moons, jale, in water, which is agitated. Why is it plural? Right, we see agitation in the moons that are reflected in the water. Right, we see wobbly moons that are projected in the water. So the water here is the upadhi. The movement of the water seems to be inherent if we take the reflection of the moon in the water to be real, then the moon is all wobbly. It's agitated, right? The moon can be representative of the mind, right? Oh no, I'm agitated. The moon enjoys a borrowed the moon enjoys a borrowed luminosity, just as the mind enjoys a borrowed awarefulness. And when there's no viveka, right? The iron ball seems to be hot and luminous, and fire seems to be round and heavy. The moon reflects light. The mind reflects awareness. And if there's no viveka between what is real and what is apparent, then I take myself to be the qualities of the mind, just like the moon seems to enjoy the qualities of the agitated water. And that's not true. So tata, even in the same manner, your movement, your agitation is a function of the anatma, not atma. So this Hastamalakiyam is probably looking at, I imagine, all he asked was, who are you? Your father's worried about you. Shankaracharya asked this boy. And he goes on for 12 verses saying these things. Maybe he sensed that Shankaracharya was a little agitated. I don't know. It's like, come on, get to, who are you? What's your name, boy? He's saying, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Maybe he was just agitated. He perceived agitation in Shankaracharya because he didn't respond to his question. I don't know. But you can kind of conjecture that. So he's actually says to him he's actually teaching Shankaracharya. And I think this is why, due to his audaciousness and the utter profundity of this boy's vision and his articulateness, his ability to express this vision in a very first-person way, right? You do a disservice to the guru and the whole tradition, the whole teaching, if you take this teaching in a third-person way, where no teacher within this parampara teaches about, that's worth their salt, talks about an atma, a transcendent atma, right? Take everything that's taught here in the first person. There's nothing, right? It's all about you who's here. And the only thing keeps you from liberation is ignorance, which allows these crazy notions about who you really are to be superimposed upon you. So these verses can be taken into meditation. These drishtantas can be taken into meditation. And so this is really the third facet of the sadhana of Advaita Vedanta. The first is shravanam, listening, understanding. It may start as, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way. Or your jaw may drop and go, wow, I never knew that. And then you walk out. Radha would talk about this. She said, oh, whenever I was in class, it was like Puja Swamiji, I was sitting at a pond and there were reeds obscuring the view. And then when he took his hands and he separated the reeds, and I saw the reality of the pond. And then the minute she walked out of the class, the reeds started coming back. And that's why we come again and again to see this. The second aspect of the sadhana is to bring our intellect to bear, because this is not illogical. Everything logically hangs together. We don't use logic to prove you, because you are swata siddha swat prakasha. You are a self-evident, self-revealing entity. We use logic to dismiss anukula nyaya. Shruti anukula nyaya. We use logic to dismiss any other possibilities. And then if this still is not who you take yourself to be, nididhyasana is viparita bhavana nivrityartham. Taking this seed understanding to remove any residual sense that I am not that which the Shruti tells me I am. And that can be anchored in your self-identity through the process of nididhyasana, or contemplation about the truth of the contemplator. Last thing, the way Puja Swamiji talked about nididhyasana is, it's not a meditation upon something you objectify, like a mantra, objectifiable. The sensation of the breath, something that is objectifiable. You take what you've learned in seed form, purnoham, I am complete, chitswarupaham, I am pure awareness, satswarupaham, I am nothing but existence, anandoham, I am the source of all happiness, love, and joy. You bring that into a very, very, very quietened state of mind, and you repeat it, and you see the word. Purnoham. You say the word, and you see the meaning. Because those words have been jam-packed at the time of Shravanam with utter profundity. And you bring, in a very first-person way. And so in the quietened state of meditation, you say the word, you see the meaning. You say the word, mentally, you see the meaning. You say the word disappears, and you are the meaning. Samadhi. And then, when you open your eyes and go out, Ajnani says, yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadhaya. After that, wherever the mind goes, there is your samadhi, regardless of the state of mind. Because whatever you see is just water. Whatever you see is just Brahman. Whatever you see, is just yourself. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. I apologize for going 5 minutes over. You have 40 minutes to have breakfast to come back. We'll start the meditation at 8:45, maybe 8:50. Give you a little more time to have your idli sambar or whatever's there. And so we'll have a meditation and then the final closing.